Isa sa pinakamalaking hadlang sa ating pagkakaunawa sa Biblia is kapag meron tayong presupposition sa utak natin, kapag meron umaalingaw-ngaw sa ating pag-iisip na sinasabi sa atin kapag na-encounter mo itong story na to, itong character na to, or itong certain narrative na to, automatic dapat ito ang isipin mo. Now, hindi mo naman kasi masisi, no? Kadalasan kasi we're being spoon-fed. We don't have the patience to go through the text word for word, no? Verse by verse, paragraph by paragraph. So that has really become a problem for us. Kadalasan, take for example, itong issue ni Jacob, which is ito yung pag-uusapan natin today. Now, when you encounter these two brothers, automatically, when you hear the word Jacob, ang lumalabas sa pag-iisip natin na si Jacob ay isang mandaraya, isang cheater. No, he's a heel grabber. He caused his brother to lose his birthright as well as the blessing of his father. Now, hindi ko sinasabing mali ito, pero mas maganda siguro if you're gonna go through the story of these two brothers, mas importante siguro kung ano man yung meron kang preconceived na ideas tungkol dito sa storya na to, isang tabi mo muna. No? So today, let's talk about the story of these two brothers. Paano pa nagsimula ang lahat? So itong dalawang mag-asawa, itong si Rebecca at saka si Isaac, wala pa rin silang anak in spite of being married for almost 20 years, no? Or otherwise 20 years, no? Now, here's the thing. Isaac prayed and then nabuntis ngayon itong si Rebecca. Nagkaroon siya ng anak. So during pregnancy, he or she felt the struggle within her womb. As if nag-aaway itong dalawang magkapatid na to sa loob ng tiyan ni Rebecca. So God decided to talk to her, explain to her what's going on inside her womb. Sinabi nga niya, nakambal ang anak nitong dalawa and nagkakaroon ng struggle between two nations and the younger will become dominant. Or should I say, the older will serve the younger. So this is a prophecy. This is a very important prophecy because it tells us kung sino sa kanila ang mamumuno, who is actually going to get the firstborn status, who is going to inherit the father's assets, household. Okay? So, after a while, finally, manganganak na itong si Rebecca. So unang lumabas itong panganay. Nakita nila na itong batang ito is quite hairy. So pinangalanan nilang Iso. Kasi Iso means hairy. Now ito naman si Jacob, since siya yung nakakapit doon sa sakong ng kanyang kapatid na panganay na si Iso, naisip-isip nila, ano kayang magandang pangalan dito? Heel, no? Heel. Ano ba ang heel? Okay, mukhang nakakapit siya sa heel. Now, it just so happens na ang heel or ang sakong in the Hebrew, it sounds like Jacob. So, bigyan natin siya ng pangalan na Jacob. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Jacob actually means to protect. It doesn't mean cheater. Okay? Hindi abnormal itong dalawang mag-asawang ito para bigyan siya ng pangalan na cheater or deceiver or whatever you think. Okay? It doesn't have a negative connotation until such time na itong si Iso, nalaman niya na utakan siya ng kanyang kapatid at nakuha niya yung blessing from their father. So ang sabi ni Iso, tama lang na ang pangalan nito, itong kapatid kong ito ay Jacob. Kasi twice na niya akong pinatid. Meaning to say, niloko. The birthright of course, as well as the blessing. Now, the thing is, ang salitang trip or patid in the Hebrew, it sounds very similar dito sa salitang Jacob as well as the heel. no? As well as the heel in the Hebrew, yung sakong. So they all sound very similar. Kaya tuloy naisipan nito, eto na ang bansag ko ngayon sa'yo. So you get the idea, sometimes niloloko ko ng mga barkada ko kasi minsan ang tawag nila sa akin, Mon, Richmond. So ang tawag nila, Mon. Minsan yun ang tawag sa akin. And I remember in high school, niloloko ako. No, lalambot-lambot ka kasi. No, kaya bagay sa'yo pangalan mo, Mon, Mamon. No? So, you get the idea, no, on where they get these names, no? Bakit naging Iso? Kasi mabuhok. Parang nakita mo tong taong to, maputi. So, anong tawag mo sa kanya? Si puti. No? O di kaya ito si Payat, no? Payat kasi siya, no? Sasabihin nyo, ito si Palito kasi payat siya, no? Something like that. You get the idea, no? So, here's the thing. Ang problema sa atin as we go through the narrative, we got stuck dito sa idea na pinupush ni Iso tungkol kay Jacob na niloko siya. So every time we go back to the narratives on how the transaction came about, yung agreement nila na makuha yung birthright, automatic iniisip kaagad natin sa isip natin na ay mandaraya itong si Jacob, niloko niya ang kanyang kapatid. Right? No. If you actually go to the narrative, which is in Genesis 25, malalaman mo na walang ginawang masama itong si Jacob sa kapatid niya. Hindi niya niloko. It was a legitimate transaction. It was a verbal agreement which is honored by God. No? In fact, what the author is trying to do, it's not to sabotage the character of Jacob, but to highlight the fact na itong kanyang kapatid na si Iso, binaliwala niya ang kanyang pagiging firstborn. Bilang firstborn, sa'yo binibigay ang ari-arian ng ama. You get double portion. Kasi bakit? You have a very important responsibility to take care of the house of the father. Okay, so malaki ang responsibilidad mo. Pero dito, sabi nga ng author, he despised his birthright. Itong si Iso, binaliwala daw niya ang kanyang birthright. Now, as you progress in the story, makikita ninyo na nung tumanda na si Isaac, the thing is, plano na niyang i-bless itong kanyang anak. But here's the problem. Alam ni Rebecca kung sino ang dapat mamuno, kung sino dapat ang maging firstborn. But the problem is, dito ka magtataka eh. Again, kine-question ko is, hindi ba sinabi nitong asawa niya, itong si Rebecca, hindi ba niya sinabi sa asawa niyang si Isaac na itong si Bunso ang dapat mamuno? Which is, I think, medyo I doubt, no, kung hindi niya sinabi yon. I mean, ikaw ba, siguro ako, no, kahit ako, asawa ko, sasabihan ko, di ba, ng kung ano yung magiging kapalaran ng aking dalawang anak, right? So, that's the kind of suspicion na I have, no? So, parang medyo hindi ako totally given in dito sa idea ni Isaac na wala siyang alam, no? So, you get what I'm saying? I feel as if na dahil sa sobra niyang paborito itong si Iso, kinalimutan niya na itong kanyang anak na to ay hindi nababagay dito sa tungkulin na ibinibigay sa kanya. Kasi sa totoo lang, itong si Iso, puro sakit ng ulo ang dinadala sa kanya. No? He married Canaanite women. Alam naman natin ang mga Canaanite women, they worship Baal. They worship false gods. So the tendency is, when you go to the second generation, which are the Edomites or the descendants of Esau, kasi they stayed basically in this place called Edom or Seir. No? Seir also means hairy, nakakaloko, di ba? So the thing is, later on, itong kanyang mga descendants, they didn't worship Yahweh anymore. In fact, they worship itong Diyos na nagngangalang si Kos. No? So, again, the point is, Isaac didn't like the idea. Rebecca didn't like the idea na pinakasalan niya itong mga Canaanite women. So nagdadala sa kanila ng sakit ng ulo. So dapat alam ni Isaac na itong kanyang panganay ang hindi dapat maging pinuno. Hindi dapat siya ang maging firstborn. Pero, syempre, alam mo naman, bilang ama, panganay mo yan, feeling mo na, papaboran mo siya. But, of course, narinig ito ng kanyang asawang si Rebecca kung ano ang balak gawin nitong si Isaac na ibigay na sa kanya yung blessing, no? So, to cut the long story short, Rebecca told his bunso or her bunsong anak na si Jacob, okay, ito gawin mo, lilinlangin natin itong tatay mo para nang sa ganun mapunta sa iyo ang blessing. So it finally worked. It was successful. So what happens nung umuwi si Esau, no? Nagulat siya. And so yun ang ni-remark niya. Tama lang na ang pangalan mo ay si Jacob kasi 2 beses mo na ako nilinlang, yung birthright ko at ang aking blessing. But here's the problem. Totoo naman yung transaction nila eh. It was a legitimate transaction. Pero bakit ba't hindi mo sinabi sa tatay mo na yung blessing dapat mapunta na sa kapatid mo since nagkaroon na kayo ng agreement? You see, the thing is, hindi naman biro yung nangyari eh. God honored yung agreement nila. But Esau is not trying to be honest. He's not honest, no? Hindi niya sinabihan ang kanyang ama. Hindi niya pinaalam. Okay? So he still insists on getting the blessing, which is of course thwarted by the plan ng kanyang nanay at ng kanyang kapatid. No? So God allowed this to happen, and the reason is because yun nga, God really preferred itong si Jacob. No? It's not to justify or to give an excuse sa ginawa nila, but the point is to communicate the fact na ito ang gusto ko. So Isaac, kahit pinilit mo na hindi sumunod sa akin, masusunod pa rin ang kagustuhan ko. My will be done, no? That's the point. Now, here's the thing. Itong pangyayari na to, the author's intention, sabi ko nga, it's not to tell us how bad of a person itong si Isaac, but it's to communicate to us that we should grab hold of the opportunity na binibigay sa atin ng Panginoon. Bilang Kristiyano, did you know that we have a status? We are members of the assembly of the firstborn. In fact, when you read in Hebrews chapter 12, let me read it for you. Ang sabi dito, make sure that no one is immoral or godless like Esau, who traded his birthright as the firstborn for a single meal. You know that afterward, when he wanted his father's blessing, he was rejected. It was too late for repentance, even though he begged with bitter tears. So what the author of Hebrews is trying to communicate to the reader is that you are already part of the firstborn assembly. Huwag kang bibitaw. Huwag mong ipapalit itong buhay, itong pangako ng Diyos na ibinibigay niya sa iyo sa mga walang kwenta, sa mga masasama at immoral na mga bagay-bagay. And I hope na maintindihan natin ang binibigay sa atin binibigay sa atin ng Panginoon, itong buhay na walang hanggan, itong kanyang pangako sa atin. You don't want to simply trade it off for something na walang kwenta. You should grab hold of it. You should maintain your faith. you should stand firm, you should stand fast in your faith. And with that, God bless.